We talk about NordVPN.com/Fightful, and I'm telling you about one or two different features that they have. How about this? I'm going to tell you about a bunch of them. Threat protection, global server network, safe from disruptions with their kill switch feature. They have reliable encryption. They have the fastest VPN on the planet, a 30-day money-back guarantee, great deals at all times, incredible reviews online from some of the best publications in the world, and 24/7 support in case you don't know what you're doing or how to use it. They got you covered. Shield your data from snoops and criminals. Protect yourself on public Wi-Fi. Secure every device you own. Add extra layers of security to your digital life with NordVPN.com/Fightful. If you're abroad, listen to your favorites. I know a lot of wrestling fans have been traveling a lot more with big events. NordVPN.com/Fightful will protect you. What's up, you guys? Welcome to Fightful. Sean Ross Sapp. It's your post-WWE Raw show for November 18th, 2024. Brought to you by NordVPN and BetOnline. We'll have some underdog lock picks for you later for BetOnline in full gear this weekend. We've got Denise Salcedo 1 week until she is dead to us. But, well, I mean, I guess for like a week after that, then you and I are filming a video, but still.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've done the show how many times and we still can't get leveled, Sean?
Are we off level? Well, you mean on the height.
You're all the way down there. I tried to get myself to your level, but it hurts my back.
Hold on. I can just
move your chair or your desktop or something so we can match. Are you getting lower? That looks terrible.
Anyway, guys, I got a standing desk.
Hold on. Smile, Sean. I'm going to take a picture. 1, 2, 3. All right, there. I took a screenshot.
Guys, I could just do this the whole day. But I do have the standing desk gimmick now. You guys get to watch that go down. But please leave a thumbs up. Drop a fruit emoji. Drop a super chat or humper chat. We would greatly appreciate it. You can do that here at youtube.com/Fightful or humperchats.com. Whether you're watching on Twitter, X, Twitch, Facebook, whatever, YouTube, we had a big week on YouTube last week, including a major interview from Kenny Omega. I believe it's his first interview in a long time. I'm going to play you guys a little clip of that, and it has a clip of the interview that I did earlier in the week with Gabe Kidd. Just a little teaser for those of you guys who didn't see it. Gabe Kidd, I would say berating you is what I would say. I'm not sure if you've seen what he said about it. Have you? No. Would you like to see a clip of what he said?
Sure.
Kenny Omega is actually not cleared yet, at least as far as I know. He's faced a
I don't give a shit if he's not cleared. I don't give a shit if he's not cleared. He shouldn't have been talking shit.
He had diverticulitis.
And he got slapped up.
He had diverticulitis. Like, he almost
I don't give a shit what he had. All I know is he had some stomach injury that has put him out for a year. That's a bitch move. And I don't get diverticulitis. I don't care if he's going to wish that killed him off.
Lots to unpack there. To call you unprofessional after that was interesting.
Gabe needs to look himself in the mirror, man. No way else to say it other than when has he ever made money in the business? When has he ever made money for New Japan Pro Wrestling?
Kenny also said that he didn't know Gabe from a glory hole in the wall.
He didn't know him from a glory hole in the wall?
Do you know any glory holes, Denise?
No, I don't want to know any glory holes. Okay, let me tell you that much. I'm not about that life.
Here's what I love. 5 years ago when we started this show, you would not have known what that was. However,
oh my God, that's terrible. So what are you trying to say? I graduated, so now I can leave.
Yes,
I finally know what glory hole is.
You're a fifth-year senior. It's like in the NCAA. If you played college ball through the COVID year, you get an extra year of eligibility. You had your extra year of eligibility.
Also, my dumbass freaking flunked Fightful, and I had to be here for 5 years and not graduate in 4.
You had your extra year of eligibility. Now you got to go get a real job.
Bro, my ass flunked. And that's why I was here an extra year.
Check out my interview with Gabe Kidd. I mean, I got the video of Gabe Kidd and Kenny Omega, and then Gabe Kidd was all too excited to talk about it. But then because I did that interview, Kenny was like, yeah, let's talk. And I was like, hell yeah. And you know me, like, I don't give a damn if half of it's going to be him selling a match or not. It's going to be fun because Kenny loves to stir shit. He absolutely loves to stir shit. And I love being the one that asks him questions to stir shit and then being like, Kenny, you know what's going on here. Like, Kenny likes to play coy. Like, he doesn't know what the headlines are going to be. He knows what the headlines are going to be. He understands that. He gets it. But check out those interviews, guys. We just dropped one today with Vinny Pacifico as well. We've just had a ton of interviews. Looks like I'll be talking to QT Marshall ahead of his match with Costco guy AJ, which I'm very excited about. Check all that out. But leave us a thumbs up here. And FightfulSelect.com, we had a nice spoiler rundown of everything today. We're going to have a bunch of contract news. We had a big update on where Danhausen has been and what is going on there. So make sure you guys check all that out. JW Pringle says, super sweet step host. You're awesome. Denise is awesome. But we'll listen.
5 years, admit that.
We'll save the mushy shit for next week. That's what we'll
please.
say.
Oh,
we'll save all that for then. Anyway, the Fightful spoiler rundown, both last week and this week, had a little bit of an interesting scoop. So they did a double taping for this show, Denise. And this segment that we saw was actually the last, one of the last things they taped. And it was Liv Morgan coming out with Raquel. You know, Nia and Tiffany
So it was
joined
swapped.
Yes, it was swapped. So this was the first thing that aired because they had so many backstage segments as well. So I believe that the crowd, you know, they go home happy seeing Rhea Ripley. Like, perfect way to end a show. This show is to set up a WarGames match, of which, again, last week we said hastily put together, doesn't really need a WarGames. But you know what? If Rhea Ripley is back, and she is, that adds an awful lot to this. It adds an awful lot to my desire to see such. And Rhea Ripley looks so badass with the face mask on. The Rip Hamilton, like Cody Rhodes face mask that we see out of this. And this was, you know, just a vehicle to bring back Rhea Ripley. That's all it was. You had Nia saying the same thing a couple times in a promo, but the long and short of this was, let's get Rhea Ripley out here. Let's get that pop. Let's get her back in the fold. How do you feel they did?
I'm so glad that they were able to get Rhea for this, because Rhea not being part of this WarGames, it just doesn't really feel like it's needed. Because at least, like, I know you can make a huge argument that a lot of the girls being on certain teams doesn't necessarily make sense, right? Like, over on Liv's team, you got her who's beefing with Nia. If you recall, Raquel ruined Tiffany Stratton's opportunity to cash in the money in the bank at Crown Jewel. And then it's like, okay, so on both teams, you can make certain cases for, like, okay, why is this person on this person's team, right? Whatever. But at the end of the day, the big feud is between Rhea and Liv Morgan. So with that, you can at least run with it and build this whole WarGames off, which is what they did. So had you not had Rhea Ripley in this, it would have felt weird. It would have felt like, oh, okay, we're just having WarGames for the sake of having WarGames for the women. And so at least having Rhea gives us so much more of more importance. It makes a little bit more sense, and it's just more exciting. So I'm honestly thrilled that we're at least getting her to be part of it. And I'm looking forward to the WarGames match for the women, particularly. Man, I love the way that Jade and Bianca and Io and Naomi all looked when they were all just sort of standing there before Rhea came out. Like, they looked like a power freaking group. And the other thing I want to mention is, what a change for Candice LeRae, Sean, because for the longest time, they weren't doing diddly squat with Candice LeRae. And recently, she has started to get more fans. I don't know how to explain this, but I've been seeing a lot more people on social media calling for Candice LeRae to get a real opportunity on the show. And I'm like, oh, that kind of came out of nowhere, because for a while her fans were really silent. I don't know if
she could steal the show in this match too. She absolutely
could. Opportunity to do that. But I don't know if she will, because she's in there with some tough competition, Sean. You got Naomi, who's like insane, Bianca, who's like insane, Io Sky, who's insane, Tiffany Stratton, who's insane. It's going to be tough competition in there.
So, I mean, I think that Bianca and Jade have done wonderful as tag team champions. Nia and Tiffany, I think, have done really well. Liv and Raquel have been a focal point, obviously. Candice LeRae steps up every single time she is given an opportunity to step up. She does. And Rhea Ripley is Rhea Ripley. Io Sky is Io Sky. I don't know if their feuds, and as they have been laid out, really call for a War Games. I don't think that they do, but you're going to get one anyway. So at least we get one where all the ingredients are like really good, and I'm very excited for it. So Rhea's back, pumped for that. Naomi getting this opportunity, excited for that. We've seen what Io does in a cage. Jade and Bianca get their opportunity as a tag team to be featured in this. If it's one you have to do and you're resigned to doing it, sure, I'm okay with that. I don't think it called for War Games, but you know what? If they're going to continue this Rhea and Liv thing as well, I do think you need some other ingredients. Now, WWE needs to get off their ass and start developing more singles contenders, especially with another belt coming, as Bad Robot brings it up. I don't love all the women's champions in War Games. Hope the U.S. women's titles finals are on the PLE so they get 2 matches. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to maybe see that push to Saturday night's main event. I think that would be
Isn't it
cool.
Already happening at Saturday night's main event?
I believe
that's when they're
so. That's
announcing
what I thought, right?
The winner. Yeah, that's happening at Saturday night's main
Yeah,
event.
there you go. There you go.
The finals are taking place on that show.
So we also saw these vignettes. It says, I know you haven't gotten confirmation yet, but did the Dakota and Lyra vignettes imply a secondary title is coming to the Raw women's division? So FightfulSelect.com, best $5 a month in the business, $54 a year in the business. I spoke to people that were at Raw last week. I spoke to a lot of the women from Raw on Friday because they weren't told anything about a secondary title last week. So obviously they're not being told this week because there's no show. They weren't told anything Friday either. Then they see the tournament and there are no Raw women involved. So there are at least plenty of women there that are like, well, I sure as hell hope we're getting one. If they're getting one.
When did they find out about the U.S. title, the women?
That day.
When we found out, or just earlier in the day?
That earlier in the day. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they had heard
a chance then.
They had heard the reports and rumors, but they hadn't heard that one was coming.
Right. I feel like now the fact that you only had it for the SmackDown women's division, because at first I was under the assumption that the U.S. title was going to be for both. But now that obviously we have the bracket and everything, we know it's only for SmackDown. But that's the thing, though. SmackDown's women's division has more depth to it. There's more girls. There's more that you can do for it. So I do want to see the Intercontinental Championship, but it is going to, for the women, but it is going to feel kind of like, well, Twin B has it, Twin A has it, so now Twin B has to get it too. You know, like when you got to buy the same toy for your kids or else they're going to fight.
I mean, I've got adult twins that I got to worry about. The Ceases, for the love of God.
Okay, well, there you go. If you get one of them a shirt, you got to get the other one a shirt.
They're ordering the same tacos at local taco, all that stuff. Oh, boy, oh, buddy, don't say this. They'll be on your ass over this, buddy. He says the opening segment was really rough. Piped in cheers and boos were rough. It was obvious Joe Tessitore was all over it all at a later point. Yes. So this was, I'll say this. It's very evident that Joe Tessitore's commentary was added in later. I thought this was the low point of his commentary so far because there wasn't a lot of excitement given to Rhea Ripley's return. Now, I don't know if you saw this. Do you remember when Christian returned to WWE back in the day?
Oh my gosh, that was such a long time ago. I don't remember the exact
It was an
details.
ECW. It was an ECW, and Todd Grisham, who is now a boxing commentator, goes, "It's Christian," just like that. He revealed recently that Vince McMahon approached him and said, "Do not act excited when he comes out," and basically cut the legs off of Christian's return, which makes you wonder. Why the hell did Vince bring him back? You know what I mean? Why do that?
Just to be like, oh, we won and you came back to us.
But I had people like that. Well, let's be real. Dumbass people. When I said last year that they were piping in boos for Dominik, they were on my ass over it. And I was like, guys, they don't do it in the venue. They're not piping them through the speakers. They're piping them over the broadcast. And WWE does this a lot. But they actually do something that I think that every wrestling company should do. when you watch WWE, you'll notice it's like never silent when a match is on. Like TNA, AEW, MLW, anything like that, because they play a little blanket crowd sound over it. And it's something they've been doing, I know, since the pandemic for sure. And it's a good idea. Like, you want that. You don't want it to be silent. You don't want a where's the lie moment like with Bobby Fish. You know what I mean? I think every company should be doing that. However, last year when people were on my ass over it, I was sitting there saying, like, guys, I've been there for Dominik's reactions. He does not need booze laid in over the broadcast that he can't hear and he can't react to, because he's reacting to the crowd, the ones that are actually making noise. So I'm not a big fan of laying those in at all.
No, especially when you don't actually need them. Yeah, when you don't need them, why do you do them? But then when you do need them, sometimes I'm like, okay, like for example, that like natural sound that you put underneath the show, that I do feel is needed because it just feels awkward without it. Like, I don't want the opportunity to be like, hey, Sean, you suck. And then everyone hears you. Like, what? Like, I don't want to hear one single person. It's just weird.
Will Chisholm says, outside of Bianca, Charlotte, Io, is Naomi one of the best women's big match wrestlers in WWE? Her versus Nia was a banger. Listen, Nia's been having a lot of good matches lately. Credit to Nia for coming back and doing one of the best runs she has ever had. But Naomi absolutely delivered. And when she came back, she wasn't put in this spot an awful lot. And then she was. And she delivered. She delivered.
So I recently went back and watched the all the women's Money in the Bank matches a couple months ago, and one of the things that I did after every single after every single one that I watched, I picked like an MVP, right? Like whoever I thought going back was the best person in the match. I think at least 3 times or so I picked Naomi because she was the one that had the most unique spots, like in each and every single one of those. And she was probably the one that made the match fun. Like, she made the match cool with all of these creative moments with her and the ladder. Some of the things she did, I'm like, you know, looking back at that, you don't see that every day. And she really knocked it out of the park. So it was weird. But doing that, going back and watching those shows is actually what made me have a more of an appreciation for Naomi. So watching all of those made me appreciate Naomi now more than I did before.
With the LWO, we got Rey Mysterio and Zelina defeating Chad, Gable, and Ivy Nile. This match was fine. Rey getting a win. I mean, listen, Rey's a legend. They treat him as they treat him in very similar regard from a pop culture standpoint as they did like The Undertaker and stuff like that, because he is held that way and he can still deliver at a high level. This match, more than anything, is one of those matches where a loss benefits American made long-term, I guess, based on the weird thing they did afterwards.
Oh, I love that.
It was, I thought it was weird because
no, I loved it, Sean, because it's like, we're so fucking hyped. Like, and it was different, right? Because it was kind of like tough love. Like he was slapping him, right? Because he didn't,
yes.
You know, he was slapping him because
he
lost.
Like he lost.
Yeah, I know,
lost.
I know, but it was
lose.
kind of like, I know, but it was still funny though, because I was like, wake up. I feel like it adds a little bit more to the Creed brothers.
He lost.
But I still liked it, okay? It was funny. It was funny, but it was funny because it's like Chad Gable starts slapping Julius, right? Julius never slaps him back. Instead, he starts shoving Brutus. So it's like one guy takes it out on the other guy, who then takes it out onto the other guy. That's like the most real life situation that I've ever seen. I thought that was hilarious. I want more of it. And I feel like it just adds to the Creed brothers where they're not just,
So help me God. If they lose after this, that's it. Because they put them together, and guess what? They've sucked together. I don't mean from a performance perspective. I mean from a getting wins perspective.
Oh.
They need to win. I need these guys to win. They got great gear. Their gear looks incredible. They need to win. I'm okay with Rey and Zelina winning this. I mean, listen, Rey is a top talent. Zelina delivers every time she's given a chance in the ring. Fightful Award Gear of the Year winner. Zelina, mind you. Fightful Awards coming up in just a couple months. But yeah, I'm cool with Ray and Zelina winning this. But it was more about American Made afterwards.
Well, one thing that I really want to say, and this is the most important thing that I have to say this whole entire show. We absolutely need to see Rey Mysterio versus Chad Gable in a PLE match.
I mean, I don't think it'd be on a PLE just because
I want it
scaled
on a PLE.
back. Like I wouldn't mind it on Saturday night's main event, but like I don't think they'll put it on like one of those 6-match cards. You know what I mean? Because they're so
they
small.
Need to. I don't care how small they are. They need to. Please mark my words when I say they need to do this.
Oh man.
That would be phenomenal. And I'm talking like really phenomenal.
I mean, listen, I would like it. I would like it. You know, as I have aged, I start to appreciate the time that we have, like with Rey Mysterio, Shelton Benjamin, and the like, a lot more. And I'm like, man, they're still performing at such a high level. It's like I'm gonna be. I see how I feel with Sting not being around now, and I'm like, man, that's how I'm gonna feel when they're gone. So I just try to appreciate what they got.
Yeah, that's going to be weird. Like one day we're going to be like, oh man, Roman Reigns. Oh man, Seth Rollins. These people can't wrestle anymore. They're old or whatever. It's going to happen one day. Father Time's going to get us all. And I don't want to think about that. Great, Sean. Now I'm depressed.
K775 says, how much longer does Rhea Liv last? Does it go all the way to Mania, or do you think they'll finish it on the Netflix premiere with the loser possibly moving on to a returning Becky, Charlotte, or another big name? So, man, gosh, we are almost a year removed from Charlotte. And I remember there were people in like April saying, she'll be back soon. And I'll be like, no, she won't. That was a tragic knee injury that she sustained. Becky, what I can say is when I asked about the reports that she would be back imminently, she was like, I don't know where that came from. But she has never been retired. She made that abundantly clear. Like I straight up asked. I was like, hey, people are saying you're retired. She's like, I didn't retire. No way. But Rhea Liv, I don't think can go until Mania. I don't think you can drag that out for another 4 months at the maximum. Netflix or Rumble, Denise.
Nah, honestly, knowing WWE, I think they would do it all the way to WrestleMania.
No, man.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think the way that they might think. And I feel like they would take this all the way to WrestleMania if they wanted to. Do they have to? Yeah. Should they? Those are two totally different questions. But if they wanted to, they could. I don't think they should. I think they should call it a day.
Denise, let me tell you a couple segments I loved. I loved a Miz segment. And I'll tell you why I loved it. He's so delusional now. I
don't even know what I saw.
Here's what you saw. I'll break it down for you.
No, I mean, I know what I saw, but I don't know what I saw.
He was putting over his acting role in fooling the Wyatts. And he's like, Timothée Chalamet never put his life on the line like I did. And it seems like his entire motivation for doing this, Denise, is to show that he is a good enough actor to get the Marine 7 made. That's what he said. He wants the Marine 7 produced. And I love it. And what I love even more is Karrion Kross just back there like, yeah, buddy, that'll get it done. That's what you want. The Marine 7. I loved it. I loved it so much, Denise.
So, like, what are we supposed to do with it?
Enjoy it, because what we saw right after that was Bo Dallas looking an awful lot like Bray. Oh, man, that gave me chills. And he was basically like, you know what you've done. You're going to pay for it. This is one of those where this week I was along for the ride for this story. Last week, I think that the final testament going up was much needed, because we need to see some vulnerability out of the Wyatts, who banded together out of vulnerability to begin with. They're not invincible, but you never seem to like this type of stuff, Denise.
No, I don't. This is not for me. I'm not feeling any of this. And I actually wish that we saw the Wyatt 6 in action more than we do. Because
that we should.
Yeah, because sometimes I feel like I like certain promos, certain promos I think hit very well, right? Like the one today, it hit well. But then there are some where it's just riddles, and I'm like trying to focus, I'm trying to get into it, and then it just doesn't happen for me. I think the problem is that it's too corny for me.
That's understandable.
Miz and Cross and all the whole thing. The whole thing is just a little too corny. So it's like you could like corny. Corny can be good, right? Because you can laugh when it's corny. But here's the problem. This is an act. This is why I don't like corny for this particular story. Because the Wyatt Six are supposed to be this cool new act. You don't want to start a cool new act with their first big feud to be corny. Then the Final Testament, they were supposed to come out here and be badasses. They weren't supposed to be corny. And so that's
they're trying to get supporting roles in the Marine 7. Like, mind your business.
That's why I said it's corny. I don't
mind your
think
damn
I've
business.
ever seen the Marine ever. I was never interested in even
First
watching.
one has the legend Robert Patrick in it. You ever watch Terminator 2?
I don't think I've seen Terminator 2. I think I only saw one, and I don't even remember it. I told you I don't care for action films.
You just watched Die Hard. You hadn't
I
watched
did like
Breaking
Die Hard
Bad.
a whole lot, though. I did like Die
You've
Hard.
never watched Terminator. You need to watch Terminator 1 and 2.
Sean, action movies are like a turn off for me. Like I see them,
No.
I see the cover, and I'm just
Different.
like, nah, I'm out.
Different. Listen, I get it. You see some dope running around with a gun like this. It's a stupid act. I don't watch the majority of action movies these days.
That's what I'm
get
saying.
it.
That's
It's
why
all
it's
been
hard
done.
for me.
No, watch Terminator 1 and 2.
I've seen Terminator 1.
Oh, then watch Terminator 2, because Terminator 2 is even better. Linda Hamilton was Ronda Rousey before Ronda Rousey existed. She was the baddest woman on the planet just because she wore a tank top and shot up a man with a Windex.
They're all the same.
Nope. Terminator 2 is nothing like anything else.
Anyway,
nothing like anything else.
I don't know. It's very hard for me to like say yes to those kinds of movies.
You need to. Gunther, Ludwig Kaiser are arguing backstage. Gunther tells Kaiser he needs to stand up for himself. And then Gunther tries to attack Priest backstage, but Priest beats his ass and leaves him. He really bitched Gunther out right here. I'll tell you what I did like about this. They were in a different setting. Like it was like some merch storage area. I just like how Adam Pearce, who is running the show, just strolls by. I'm like, what's he doing there? But dude,
why did they add that? Why did we didn't even need that part? Couldn't they just leave Damian Priest standing over Gunther, zoom into his face a little bit, and then call it a day? Why did we have to get Adam Pearce in this?
To have him there just makes it look like he has even less control than he already does. You know what I mean?
Care, though. We already know that. I didn't feel like that was, I felt like the point of this attack was to say, yeah, Damian Priest was like totally busy doing something else. He was like signing autographs or something. He's attacked from behind. Gunther thinks he has the best of him, but then Damian Priest has the best of him. So the point of this was Damian Priest whooped his butt, even though he didn't even see him coming, even though it was a cheap shot from the back.
By the way, if you want a cheap shot from the back, use Blue Chew in the code FIGHTFUL. From the front, from the back, doesn't matter.
I'm just saying, we didn't need Adam Pearce in this segment, okay? Next time, just call it a day. End it with a shot of Damian Priest looking cool, and that's it. And then poor Gunther was taken out with his fancy shoes. Like, who attacks a man with his fancy shoes? It's like, you don't hit a guy with glasses. You don't hit a man with fancy shoes.
Yeah, it's true. Wait, Gunther had fancy shoes, or
Gunther had his fancy shoes? Like,
I was gonna say, I've seen Damian Priest with some $1,000 Louis Vuitton, some red bottoms on before. Mm-hmm. So like that man's on his shit as well with the shoe game. But this is a perfect comment. It says, when you say they're all the same, half those movies are trying to recapture or imitate a fragment of Terminator 2. I mean it. It's one of the best movies ever.
What's your favorite movie ever, Sean? Like ever, ever, ever?
My favorite movie ever is probably like a comedy like The Other Guys or the Toy Story franchise. I think the best movie I've ever seen is The Departed. I think that's probably the best. But The Departed isn't going to be one that I watch a million times. It's just the best movie I've ever seen.
Okay.
Oh, Joe Dirt is a favorite as well.
Oh God, is that your comfort movie? Like when life's hard, you're like, I gotta watch Joe Dirt and get my snakes
Moneyball,
and snacklers. I like
Moneyball,
Moneyball. I've
Draft
seen that
Day.
one like
Those
a
are comfort
million
movies.
times. Which
Probably
one?
something that I liked as a teenager. Like Road Trip is a fun one. Old school. I liked a lot of R-rated comedies.
Oh, look at you, Sean.
Jay Hudson says SRS with Josh Alexander no longer working indies. Is it possible he signs with WWE? Denise and SRS report card on the job Triple H has done so far. You know what? I'd give Triple H a solid B because you couldn't do much worse than what Vince was doing. And his creative has at least put them in a position where they are the most financially successful the company has ever been. So I'd say a B, but it'd be like a high B. It'd be like an 87.
That's a B plus, bro.
No, B plus is 89, bro. That's what a B plus is.
I'm pretty sure that's a B plus.
I'm pretty sure it's not. My wife's a teacher.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I'm. Are you going to call your wife right now and be like,
no, I know the answer to this. I know the answer to this.
Okay, what is it? What is it? 80 what?
Like at 89.
89 is B plus.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just asking. Damn. I'm the teacher here.
I mean, it can be between 87 to 89. Can be.
Okay, so then was I not right when I said that's a B plus?
Can be. Can be.
So
if
let
you
it
have
be
low
this
standards. If you have low standards. In my school, you weren't getting a B plus unless it was 88 or 89. And it was a rounded up 88.
All right. Well, I went to a ghetto public school, so that shit would have been an A to me.
Anyway, also, I'll ask Josh Alexander next week. I'm supposed to interview him. So I'll ask him. But his deal isn't up for a number of months. Denise, what grade would you give Triple H?
I would say a C plus. I think there are some stories that have dragged on way too long, and I think there was some other stories that I would have liked going in different directions. And I was sort of anticipating certain people to be at different points in their careers by this point. But I would say a nice C plus.
Hassan says, R.I.P. to Ray's dad. He talked about his parents a lot back in the day. They seem very close. Prayers to the family. Yeah, I want to send our condolences to his family. That's a tragic loss. Sending our love to Ray and his family. Anonymous says, if Rhea's team loses, she should get traded to SmackDown. Let's spice things up. Get her away from Liv so she can reach her full potential as champion. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to have Judgment Day drafted as a whole now, but I would do a complete redraft, Denise. You got the Netflix era starting. You got SmackDown on USA. Just draft. That's how I feel. But also, don't draft people like Dijak that you're not going to use and then you're going to cut right after.
See, like, I'm worried of two things, right? With the draft, it's like, on one hand, I feel like you do need it because with the last draft, nothing changed really. So you could do a draft just to make up for even the last draft. So I guess I'm worried that part of us is going to watch a draft and nothing's going to change again, or that they're going to change too much that isn't necessary to change just for the fact that they didn't change enough last time.
I mean, you can't, if you switch everybody, you're just.
And we stay with the same things. We're just changing colors.
Exactly. So you can't change too much, but I mean, it's probably going to be a redraft when they do it, I would imagine. We had Braun Breaker, Sheamus. Rafael Garcia says Sheamus should have been in a G1. A DQ, really? Well, it was a no contest thanks to Ludwig Kaiser, who interrupted a humper of a match. FightfulSelect.com. I did my backstage, or I did the Fightful Report podcast today. And in that, I do a Q&A, Denise, and somebody said 5 people from WWE, AEW, and then elsewhere you would use to start a company, and who would be your world champion? And I named all the people. My champion would be Braun Breaker beating Roman Reigns in the finals of a tournament and launching like that new generation. That's how good I think Braun Breaker is. I believe everything he says, everything he does. I am invested in him as a performer. Like him last week being like, yeah, I don't mind whipping your old ass. Let's do it. Like, he is not afraid of anybody. He just loves to fight. He knows he's better at it than everybody else. And Sheamus, what the hell? This guy, how is he this good? How is he still this good? Denise, back in my day, I was watching WCW, watching Greg the Hammer Valentine barely be able to walk across the ring. Younger than this, I watched Roddy Piper and Hulk Hogan in the main event of a match that literally put me to sleep. They were younger than Sheamus.
Well,
Roddy
we see that a lot now, though. Like, there's a lot of guys that by now, okay, for example, like when WWE started phasing some of their top guys out back in the day, a lot of them were younger than the guys that you see on top right now.
Right now is when 46-year-olds were men. That's what we're talking about. This is when men were men, as long as you're 45 and up.
It's so crazy, too, because going back again to this, like, I did this WrestleMania SummerSlam rewatch, right? And here's the thing that I was thinking about. You could go from, like, 1 year and go 4 years later, and so much would change. Like, you weren't seeing the same people weren't on top. Like, you could see these drastic changes in the wrestlers and the style and who was over and all of that. Now, if you do that, there's not that big of a change. You're still seeing a lot of the same people. And that to me was kind of telling, where I'm like, damn, we moved faster with the times back in the day than when we do now.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, they killed it. They had a great match. Ludwig Kaiser looks like he's in the midst of a little bit of a push here, which I like, because he's got the confidence of a lot of really good people. He delivers when given those opportunities. It's just, I don't know how much I'll ever like a no contest DQ in a match like this. Like, I'm left. And like, for me as a viewer, I'm not like, oh, the heat. I'm like, oh, it's a bummer.
I did think that, though. Look, I'll be honest with you. I was watching this match. I was watching this match and I was having the best freaking time because this match was phenomenal. I started to get worried here because I didn't want Sheamus to defeat Braun. And I didn't want it for the sake that Braun had lost the title relatively quickly to Jay and then got it back. I didn't want to see him lose it so quickly again to Sheamus. And the crowd was getting way behind Sheamus. Like, at certain points, I started getting the same feeling that I got when the crowd was getting behind Jay. And I'm like, oh my God, are they going to have Sheamus win the title here, right? And I started to panic for a second, but whatever. I was enjoying the match. It was so good. Freaking everything. The Frankensteiner, the clothesline to the commentary, to Sheamus on the commentary table. That scary freaking dive, God, what do you call it? When Braun Breaker went straight into his head, went like straight into Sheamus's chest. Like, that was nuts. Whatever. That was cool. A lot of really great moments. When Ludwig Kaiser came, I was so invested in the match. I did not see Ludwig Kaiser coming here at all. Like, I didn't see it happening. And so he's really, really surprised me here. I feel like most of the time you can sort of see this stuff in hindsight. And this time I didn't. Of course, prior to that, Gunther had told him, like, you need to be your own man. You need to go out there and you need to, like, make an impression, right? Whatever it is that he said to him. And so I thought that Ludwig Kaiser did just that. It's unfortunate that it came at the cost of us seeing either Sheamus defeat Braun Breaker or Braun Breaker defeat Sheamus. It sucks that it happened like that, but I did think that this was a really, really good explosive moment that meant something for Ludwig Kaiser, because I think from this point on, we are going to be seeing Ludwig Kaiser on a different, in a different way on the show.
We're going to see an awful lot of explosive moments this weekend for AEW Full Gear. I'll be live for a post show right after that. You go into that show, Denise?
No.
I'll be damned.
No, I will be at home doing a watch along.
Well, guys, I'll be live right after the show talking about all of it. But our friends over at BetOnline AG have the odds up now. You can bet on wrestling at BetOnline AG. Jon Moxley, Private Party, Mercedes Moné, all favored to retain. MJF favored to win. Will Ospreay favored to win. Bobby Lashley favored to win. But here's some interesting ones. Daniel Garcia, who I've got picked in my predictions, is favored to win the TNT title. And my underdog lock pick, at least as of right now, I got Jay White. I think Jay White is going to beat Hangman Page. You can go over there, bet on these at BetOnline AG. You can also bet against the Cincinnati Bengals every single week. What I can tell you is that would be a very smart, safe, wise bet, because only that team could score more points against the Chargers than any team in the NFL has all season and still choke it away. So if you don't have any confidence in your team, bet against them at BetOnline AG. Safe and secure environment, highest credit card acceptance, big bet functionality. They got all kinds of games over there as well. You can compare their competitors. They got the payouts in minutes, all kinds of great stuff at BetOnline. Only bet what you can. Please bet responsibly. I'm sure they appreciate that. Man, we needed the Jets to win this weekend, and they didn't do it. Go figure. Doesn't much matter when the Bengals don't win either. But Finn is calming down Liv and Raquel backstage, tells Dom and Carlito to go for the Raiders next. He really hypes them up backstage, and it did not work, Denise. The the Viking Raiders, whatever the hell they are, the War Raiders.
War Raiders
Whipped their asses. And then JD McDonough and Finn Balor came back and laid a whooping down on the War Raiders. I'm like, you know what? Okay. All right.
I only have two things to say, Sean. One, I'm hella
Let me
glad
see.
that the War
Let me
Raiders
see.
defeated Carlito and Dominik,
There
because
we
there
go.
was no reason for them to there was no reason for them to lose to Carlito and Dominik. The second thing that I need to say is get the dang titles off of Finn and
Yes.
JD. I'm sick
of it.
Forgetting they're tag team champions.
Or have them
Always.
defend them already. Have them defend them already. I'm so sick of this bullshit, man. Like, you've got these titles on the show, and they're never featured. They're never featured. How long ago did they even win their top contendership match? Now I need to go
At least 3
look.
weeks ago, because they haven't been back for too long. Like, it's
October
barely been-
28th. October 28th. They
See, I told you not
started
that long
the
ago.
tournament, Denise. They started the tournament on October 7th. October
Damn.
7th. So at the beginning of October, they said, you know what? It's been so long since Judgment Day defended. We need to develop some contenders. And it'll be the end of November, at least, before we get that match. It is so dumb. Alpha Academy meet with Kofi, and then Woods meets with Kofi. Woods is fired up here. Is this doing anything for you?
Yeah, actually it is. I like how grumpy Xavier Woods is. He's doing a
Me
really
too.
good job of being a whiner. Like, he's just whining about everything, complaining, bitching and moaning, all of that. And he's doing a really good job of it, to the point where I'm like, Kofi, bro, like, you got to do something about this already. Like Xavier Woods is starting to get to a point where you're just like, all right, that's it. I would not be friends with Xavier Woods anymore. Kofi Kingston,
Why?
I would have ended it already. I would be like, I'm done with your shit. I'm done with you complaining all the damn time. And he's always so negative and in a bad mood. I feel like Kofi Kingston needs to call it a day already. So I like it. I'm interested in this story. Them being rude as hell to Otis after Xavier Woods being rude as hell to Otis after Otis tried to help them out and make a little bit of peace. I thought that was fun too. I mean, unfortunately, there really isn't much else going on with Otis or Tozawa or Maxine. They're kind of just there at this point. Like, they might as well go over to NXT.
That's what I've been begging for.
Nicely. They would fit in.
Tozawa, I mean, listen, it doesn't take that much to get an NXT title shot these days either. Tozawa would kill it in NXT. He'd have some really great matches. People would learn from him. And Otis is familiar with that system, so I think he would help out a lot. And it would allow Maxine to get some reps as well, which I think would be pretty cool. We had the Bloodline recap. Sleaze Boy says Roman and Sammy need to say his name, even Joe Hendry. Or they can bring back Ricky from Seattle, the guy that Kevin Owens betrayed.
Ricky! I forgot about Ricky.
Ricky, I think, did AEW right after that as well. But
did he really? Good for him.
Yeah.
You know what? Maximize your minutes.
But backstage, Seth once again rejects the Bloodline's offer for WarGames, which is Jimmy, Jay, and Sammy. And Rollins is, I think, very reasonable in this. He's saying, I know what kind of guy Roman Reigns is. I don't want anything to do with him. Sami Zayn says, listen, you fought on the same side as Cody Rhodes, and you guys had real blood beef for a while. And Rollins goes, well, how about this? I'll make a concession. How about I just whip Bronson Reed's ass so bad that he can't possibly even do War Games, and you don't need me anyway. And they were like, yeah, we'll at least hear you out on that one. Sure, why not? And to me, that's a common sense thing for Seth Rollins to do. I saw where Ibu, who is pretty soon going to replace you, we're just going to push the grave over and prop Ibu up right there. He said that it would be important if Seth Rollins stood on business for this. And I mean, the reason Seth Rollins was out for so many months is because he stood on business so much about Roman Reigns. With an injured knee, he came in and was Cody Rhodes' shield. So I feel like it is important. Do you think that we're going to see him added to this because they're all in on Bronson joining it?
Well, last week when Seth Rollins said to both sides that he wasn't going to join, I liked that he had a backbone. That was the big thing that I felt.
Me too.
And so when Bronson Reed came out and joined Bloodline 2.0, I think everyone kind of knew from there on, oh yeah, for sure. Like now Seth Rollins is definitely going to be part of this. Seth Rollins, once again, being asked today by all the baby faces backstage if he would join, he made some really good points. Like, I would be there for you. I'd be there for you. I'd be there for you. I'd stand there with you, but I would not stand there with Roman Reigns. He's made it very clear. He hates Roman Reigns. We know this. Now, given what went down in the main event with Bloodline getting involved and all of these guys going out there and having Seth Rollins' back, it made a good point that he should have these people on his back, but I don't think they did enough yet to justify Seth Rollins changing his mind yet. But of course, we still got another SmackDown. We still got another Raw and another SmackDown incoming.
Yep. So of course they have,
like, look, if Seth Rollins changes his mind, they got to do it in a way where Seth Rollins is justified for changing his mind and doesn't look stupid for changing his mind.
Yeah, because if it's just, oh, well, he's mad at Bronson Reed. Well, what I could see is he had to kind of beg, I don't want to say beg, but like really push Adam Pearce to get this match, this Bronson Reed match. And now Adam Pearce can be like, listen, I'm done with you two. Like, you guys cannot keep tearing up our show. At some point, I have to at least take control of this show. I've got to somehow push for some semblance of control, and I can't do that. And this is the only way Seth can get to him. They had a fine match. Of course, Solo causes Bronson Reed to win. I wonder if like Bloodline just saw that Bronson Reed's name on the Indies was Jonah Rock, and they're like, he must be related to The Rock. He's in. We got him. He's a part of the Bloodline. Throw up your ones. We're good to go.
I mean, he does make them look a lot more cooler.
You're from an island. That's good enough.
That'll pass for us.
They're gonna put Anna Bauer on their team next. She's gonna get a tribal tattoo or something like that. Rhea, how about you? All right, cool. She likes rock music. That's close enough. She's in.
Oh my God.
The main event, like, listen, it was good. It just, it was used to build War Games as opposed to being a blow off to one of the better feuds this year in WWE, which I guess for the long-term consideration of this program, not a terrible thing. It's just whenever I see them wrestle, I've come to expect something unbelievable. And this was used to catapult something else, which is fine, I guess.
I was so happy to see Bronson Reed win. I was thrilled.
Me too.
I was excited. I love the way that it happened. Of course, the match wasn't, 5 stars or anything because of all the outside interference, and it kind of cut with the time that they had for the actual match. But the actual match was fine. The main event was fine. It got exactly what we wanted. It did 2 things, right? Like you said, the War Game stuff. And then on top of that, it gave Bronson Reed his win. And I was very thrilled to see that. And I thought it was like really cool to see Raw end with Bronson Reed's face right there cheering and doing the thing and having him be the lasting image that you see, as we know that's very important too. So I thought they did a lot in this main event to accomplish what needed to be accomplished. And now it's just a matter of what will they do to make us all convinced and Seth Rollins convinced to join along with Roman Reigns' team for War Games?
Well, guys, we got a big week, or big 2 weeks on Fightful's YouTube and our podcast platforms everywhere. Just a reminder, we are on your Amazons, your Apple Musics, all that stuff, Spotify. So check us out there. Leave us nice reviews. The last 2 weeks, we've interviewed Bronson Reed, Paul London, Atlantis Jr., the Hardy Boys, Rocky Romero, Brett Lauderdale, Gabe Kidd, Kenny Omega, Thekla, as well as Vinny Pacifico. That's just on this channel. Corey Brennan is cornering the European scene over on Fightful Scraps. In the weeds, always interviewing people as well. Check all that stuff out. And of course, FightfulSelect.com. We do have a couple more super chats. Ryan says, I have a theory on who the fifth man is for OG Bloodline. I don't think it'll be Rollins. I think Paul comes out and says he called in a favor, and out comes CM Punk. That's what I would like. Roman got a hold of Paul Heyman. And I saw people on Facebook saying, Brock, why do Brock when there is a completely less problematic option on your roster that won't cause at least a bunch of people to get pissed off? CM Punk makes a bunch of sense. He doesn't necessarily have as much beef with Roman Reigns or anything like that. In fact, listen, when I was reporting last fall, one of the things that I had reported was Roman Reigns did have some personal problems with CM Punk and wasn't exactly fond of him. I don't know if those bridges have been rebuilt, but WWE's pretty good at leaning into that type of stuff. They're very smart about that. So I would do that, Denise. I would go the Punk route. And, that Rollins naturally would be a little pissy about anybody taking his shine, but especially CM Punk.
Well, CM Punk did make his return at last year's Survivor Series. It'd be kind of weird if he wasn't on this one, marking his 1 year back. And then, hey, what does that continue? That continues that Seth Rollins CM Punk feud that we're still waiting to see culminate at some point. So I feel like, CM Punk would be a phenomenal option.
Terry Allen Jr. says Karrion Kross's Dead Silent theme should return. I love that theme. I thought that was really good. I think that with the rest of the group would go really well, Terry. I
That's
completely
the one that
agree
he
with
originally had, right? With
Scarlett.
And they
Scarlett sang it.
Yeah, I like that one.
And with AOP there, oh my God, I think that would be great. Maybe not Miz, but I would love Miz to be lip syncing it the whole time like Scarlett did.
Maybe he could be doing the Scarlett dances.
Guys, next week will be me and Denise's last post show together. She does have post show plans that she'll tell you about momentarily, but make sure you guys join us. It's going to be a very fun show next week. We're going to, look back on the last 5 years and all that good stuff. We're going to talk about some of our Fightful memories and the like. But Denise, tell the people what
I didn't even know we were doing all that.
Listen, I ain't running videos or anything, but we'll reminisce a little bit. We'll have people send in their super chats, humper chats, talk about all the ways that I improved your life. No big deal.
Yeah, seriously.
look at that incredulous look. That was genuine out of Denise. That one.
Man, okay, well, what do I need to say? Oh yeah, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. As you guys know, my last show is next Monday. And then after that, I'll be doing Raw post shows over on my channel. So after you guys are done watching Sean and Ibu, you guys can come check out me and Santi. We'll be live doing the Raw post shows. And it's gonna be the new Monday Night Wars. Just kidding, Sean. just kidding.
I'm gonna roll up to your house in a Jeep.
No,
and
you're gonna do spoilers. You should do spoilers too.
Your husband will let me in though. He'd just be really confused. He'd be like, "What are you doing? Aren't you on the air too?"
Yeah, exactly. No, but I'm excited. It's time for a new era, and obviously, I'm gonna miss everybody. So yeah, next week's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird. Maybe I shouldn't even show up. I'm not good at goodbyes. I'm not even going to show up for my last show.
We have a video planned the week afterwards. We have an award show planned like 3 weeks after that.
Yeah, but our video is not going to come out till December. So even though we're shooting
we're filming it in December, Denise.
Yeah, I know. You're saying it next week. Oh, yeah, you're right.
The week after you leave, we're filming
shooting our video December 5th, but it'll air the week after.
Yes, and then we've got the Fightful Awards, which I'm aiming for earlier in December than we usually do it. The
we're
reason
doing
we
it in
used to
December? I thought we were doing it in January.
or no, it'll be early January. My
Oh, okay.
apologies. The reason I used to wait is because we used to get so many acceptance speeches like at Rumble Media Day, but like I'm not waiting until February to do the award show. Like,
Yeah.
and that's when the Rumble is. So I'm just gonna have to bug WWE and be like, listen, I'm at MSG. Let me get some of these acceptances.
I
But
say you
Will,
fly me out to Kentucky to do an in-person Fightful award show.
you said you'd never come to Kentucky.
Well, if you fly me out and pay for
I might
me,
do that in the future. I will.
this is
I
your
will
last
definitely do that.
chance, Sean.
I don't know. No, I'm gonna definitely bug you to keep doing the Fightful Awards. Sorry, that's just the
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
Will says go back to the Punk and Paul Heyman promo in the Shy, so it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I've got no reason to believe that they don't have some sort of connection still. But guys, I want to say thank you all so much. Leave a thumbs up on this video. Leave a comment on this video. Please share it as well. Denise and I are both on Blue Sky now as well, as is Fightful. I am also working very hard to increase our footprint on Facebook. If you have high-level experience, like building a Facebook with like hundreds of thousands of likes, followers, all that stuff, hit us up because we definitely need some help over there with that, getting monetized, all that good stuff. Until next time, my friends, we're out.